All right, we are recording. Greetings, everyone. How y'all doing? It's been a minute. Well, it feels like it's been a minute since we've come together as a group class. I know I've been having classes with my coaches, but as far as us having our monthly class, the last time we had one was April, I believe. I don't think we did one for May. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. Today we're going to go over a few things. Definitely going to go over the Mercury retrograde, even though we're out of it, meaning like the bulk of it. We know here in this class that the retrograde has 3 phases. It has a pre-phase, it has the actual retrograde, and the shadow phase. We're in the shadow phases of it, so that means we're still going to be, dealing with some of this retrograde energy. So of course, we're going to talk about it, talk about some of our experiences, what it was really, the messages that was coming from it. I want to really talk about the wrap up of this retrograde, and also getting prepared for the next retrograde. Like, you have to understand that all this energy is connected. It's like this big, long, movie being played out in several different series, and all this energy plays a major part of it. So the retrograde that we just kind of wrapped up, or I'll say that we are wrapping up, is going to be a continuation for the retrograde that we're going to have in September. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. I also want to talk about the Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, which kicks off on the 5th officially. Okay, so we have 2 days of that, but we're already feeling it. Like, we've been feeling the Saturn retrograde for like a good week and a half, because it also has a pre-phase, it has a regular phase, and the shadow phase. All these retrogrades have 3 parts to them. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, because that is going to be really the dictator for your summer. Okay, it's going to really be a major factor in your summer plans. And so, because that's the case, I know a lot of us have plans to travel, or we want to travel. So this is going to be a really important talk as it relates to how you plan out your summer, as it relates to the things that you do. Because determining how this Saturn retrograde is affecting your chart, you may want to rethink some plans. Okay, you may want to downscale them or pull them back, because some of us are going to go through some financial overhauls, and so it could be more expensive for us to be able to do some of these things. So we're going to talk about it and determine where it is in your chart. We're going to talk about that. And then also, I wanted to wrap up with what was the last part? Summer forecast. Yes. So bringing all this together into the summer forecast. So for those of you that have the calendars, I'm going to pull that out and just kind of jot some things down. Hold on, let me let Comfort in. All right. So let me share my screen. Hey, Comfort.
Hey.
All right. So we're going to kick off with, of course, the Mercury retrograde. All right. So make sure you have your charts out, so you can kind of see where these things affected you directly. So when we're talking about these from the astrological perspective, your job is to go and find them inside your chart. Okay, so meaning, where are these conversations happening? For the Mercury retrograde, it was dealing with the Gemini aspects of our charts. So that can also, if you don't have any Gemini directly in your chart, that was also in the 3rd house as well. That's what Gemini rules. And then Gemini is also dealing with communication. So there's Mercury again. Okay, so anytime we're talking about Mercury retrograde, we got to just talk about Mercury itself, and knowing that Mercury rules communication, it rules the mind. Okay, so, and we deal with these retrogrades 3 times a year, sometimes 4, just depending on how the changes are. Okay, so the major day that Mercury deals with is Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, primarily Wednesday. It has a lot to do with just the communication, the thoughts of the mind. All right, so anytime we're dealing with retrograde because it also, or Mercury, we're dealing with all the different types of technology, messing up. Okay. So over this time period we just went through, it was terrible this time. It was real bad. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff was just moving exceptionally slow from all parts, this particular time, because it was a retrograde in this sign. So it's always going to be a little bit more intense with us dealing with those particular energies, even though for the people who have that particular aspect, it's still kind of, it's a little bit easier for them. Okay. So when we're talking about the retrograde perspective, this particular time, when it kicked in, which was on the 11th, what was so special about the retrograde this time, because at the same time, Venus also went into Aries. Okay, so not only did we have this retrograde started, we had this whole Venus shift happening at the same time. So with that coming together, the combination of that, not only were we having to really go into a different perspective of ourselves to really see what was going on with our minds, the love perspective and really dealing with these things that we had just come from this whole overhaul of Taurus and Scorpio. So it was just like a really major hit that week, okay? And because it was a major hit that week, communications went haywire, relationship energy went haywire, just everything got real tense as the week started to go on. Now, for those of you that's in the group, we already talked about it. We talked about that in April. And we talked about just the onset of what the eclipse energy was going to do. Because again, all of this stuff is connected. It's connected because it's almost like the domino effect, right? When you push one thing, that leads into the next thing. And so when you start to look at the bigger picture, it's all getting us to do what? Really understand that in order for us to get any of this stuff that we keep asking and requesting of this whole energy that we've been dealing with Jupiter, right? This whole, oh, I'm supposed to have this. It's your mind. It's your mindset, okay? Your experiences are based on your mindset. You've been telling yourself these stories, repeating them over and over again, blaming people, making yourself the victim, not holding responsibility. And that's what's so beautiful about this Saturn retrograde energy coming in, because it's going to be about you fucking taking responsibility, period. Just pure responsibility, okay? That's all Saturn wants you to do. But in order for you to get there, you have to realize the reasons why that you have been lacking the maturity on these things is because you have been refusing to see that it has a lot to do with you wanting to let this go, telling a different story. Some of us are addicted to these stories that we're telling ourselves and not even understanding why we are reduplicating over and over again. Every time you get in a relationship, you get to that 5 or 6 month mark, and then the relationship cheats on you. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, I don't know why I keep getting these men, they keep cheating on me. I don't know what's going on. You are the vibration to this, baby. That's because you keep telling the story. So the retrograde was really allowing us to see a lot of our stories in a major way based on our mental mindset, okay? So your abilities of how you was dealing with the retrograde this time, meaning like if you encountered a situation and instead of you repeating the same ways in which you normally communicate, if you took the time to listen, and when you came back at the situation, if you made a definitive decision with it and said, okay, listen, I went and I had a chance to look at this situation. I realized it's been me sending off mixed signals. I've been saying I want one thing, but then I've been, taking you in as if this is what I really want. What I mean is sometimes we get in relationship dynamics, whether it's friendships, partnerships, love ships, fuck ships, situationships, all of them. We get in them knowing that they're not right for us. What I mean not right for us, because you've already said back here that it's a certain experience that you want to have. But this experience right here is not it. It's just comfortable. It's what you know. So what you tell yourself is, okay, I can do this, but it'll work out to this. No, it won't. It happened 8 times before that. It hasn't. So sometimes we're telling ourselves these stories and we're allowing ourselves to keep duplicating it because we don't want to change. But it's based on what we're saying. So if you are saying one thing and doing the other, then now you know why this retrograde kicked you in your ass. Because you've been playing 2 sides. Gemini, you've been straddling the fence. Gemini, you haven't been making the decision on what it is that you really want. You've been lying to yourself and blaming other people for it when it's really you. So our conversations that came up during this retrograde made us confront those. I don't care how they showed up. However it showed up, it's because you've been telling yourself something different. So let's switch the story. Let's look at it differently, right? How are we gonna look at it different? Now you got to take responsibility that you are the common denominator. You are the operator. You are the CEO. You are the co-workers. You are the person that's been making the decisions. And if you are not happy with what you are rendering, it's time for you to rewrite the manual. You got to rewrite it. That's what this Saturn in retrograde is going to bring about, okay? It's going to bring about you redesigning what structure looks like for you, because some of us are going to be like, well, I've been doing the structure. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, but has it been working? Do you feel stable? Do you feel like you're getting what your goals met? Is this stuff really, is things really happening for you? Are you still in a stall? Are you still wondering like what you're waiting on? These are questions that are coming up that you got to answer. And if some of the answers are, well, yeah, well, if that's the case, then that means it's time to restructure it. No matter what type of retrograde it is, it's all about the revision. Okay. So take from the retrograde, and we're going to take all the stuff that showed up from that, right? You're going to take it, and now we're going to apply and combine that with the Saturn in retrograde. So even though Mercury retrograde, as the meat and potatoes of it has come to an end, we're still in the shadow phases of it as Saturn in retrograde is coming in. So this is a combination of energy that's happening together. So since they're happening together, we got to combine these conversations. All right. So let's pull something up. Am I sharing my screen? Can y'all see my screen? Y'all can't see my screen? Shit. Okay. Well, hey. I guess I should have asked that, because the whole time I'm pointing at the screen and stuff, and you can't even see the thing. All right. So here are your retrograde dates, okay? The last two you got to deal with for this year. So know everything that you're dealing with now, the combination of what started off in Taurus, right? This kicked off on May 11th, Taurus conversation. What else was our Taurus conversation? The eclipse was our Taurus conversation. The solar eclipse was a Taurus conversation. The Pluto retrograde kicking off in the Taurus season was a Taurus conversation. So all of this combined now with the Mercury retrogrades kicking off in the Taurus conversation into the Gemini perspective. In your chart, these are the ways in which they showed up the strongest. Okay? It's going to continue on into your conversation into September 11th. So meaning whatever showed up now is going to, you got a break meaning that you can see some things a little bit clearer now that you're out of it. But you still need to be prepared for how you need to recenter that whole thing, that whole conversation. By the time you get to September and you get to this whole Virgo Libra conversation, you definitely should be in a different space of knowing how you want to work with it and how you want to relate to it. Okay? Now, Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde is here to help you get your shit together. I love these articles because, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we need it. We need that little pop. We need that little, oh, is that what's happening? Is that what's really going on with me right now? I just didn't even know. Yeah, that's what's going on. And because of what's going on, your summer, even though your summer going to have all potential to be a hot girl, hot boy summer, okay? It's also going to be a different type of hot boy, hot girl summer, because this is coming with a lot of restrictions, okay? It's coming with a lot of restrictions because Saturn has everything to do with what? Structure, right? And if it has a lot to do with structure, that means even though it wants to make sure you have what you need to have, It also wants to make sure that you are doing what needs to be done. All right. So it's not like a Pluto retrograde, which is, you know what I'm saying, really, really aggressive. I tend to think the Pluto retrogrades are, I mean, I don't know what y'all thought about the one that happened at the end of April. For me, I thought it was a little bit aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Aggressive meaning that whenever those things come in, it's like it doesn't give you a choice. When it's time to it's like, boom, change now, bitch, you're going to see this now. Saturn is almost like, come sit at the table. Like when your boss call you in and you know you did some shit. It's that type of retrograde. Like, come sit down. Let's talk about it. Okay, now, did you do this right or not? Did you try to do the shortcut way of this? You know what I'm saying? Did you put your all into this? It's the questioner as it relates to your retrograde. Okay? So when it comes in, it's coming to just really ask you, what's happening? But what you feel is you feel limitations, you feel the restrictions, you know what I'm saying? Time management, authority, budgeting, all these things come along with it. But a lot of it has to do with just being responsible. Okay, this is a time period where it's time for us to grow up. So you're going to be, having a good summer, but you're going to have a summer that has a lot, that's dealing with a lot of responsibility. Okay, fine tuning things, getting your life together. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't finna be like one of them reckless summers that you've had. This right here is gonna be one of them summers you strategically plan out. Okay? Why? Because financially, it's gonna affect some people financially. You gotta think about what it is. It's also dealing with, Saturn is like career, right? And it's, you know what I'm saying? It's finances. It's got, everything to rule that financial situation. So because of that, it's just slow to come in. Right? It's slow to come in because it's working us out in other ways. It's working us through other ways. Okay. Now, y'all know I like to get into the family synergies of that. So I know that this is also daddy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know that because, again, we've been working on this all year. It's been coming up. You know what I'm saying? Even when we talk about, you know what I'm saying, Kevin Samuels and how men responded to that. And, this whole energy of fathering energy is having a huge shift, right? But it's having a huge shift with us too, because getting our shit together is about the masculine maturity inside of us, where we're willing to allow ourselves to mature. What that's going to do for women, especially those of us who are working on synergizing ourselves to partners, is going to allow you to create these boundaries that cannot be shaken. Okay, because you are healing the daddy issues. Okay, the daddy issues become fully healed with this Saturn retrograde energy. But in order for us to heal it, we got to confront it. We got to really face it all the way and say, okay, where am I not allowing myself to grow? Where am I still telling this old story? Because this old story is why I'm still making room and excuses for men that I shouldn't be making excuses for, because they just simply not mine. Okay, they just don't belong to me. Belong to me, I mean, that's not your experience. You're having an experience that is not yours. So the whole energy of the Saturn retrograde is this summer. Okay, it's from now all the way until October 23rd. So you got that going on. You still got the Pluto retrograde energy that's stretching all the way into October, November. You got the eclipse energy that's also 6 months long. So that Taurus eclipse energy and Taurus Pluto Scorpio energy, that's all the way into November too. So look at the themes. Look at the themes of what's happening. Pluto, Scorpio, Taurus. Okay, look, listen. What are we dealing with? Saturn energy, retrograde energy. The Saturn retrograde is dealing with Aquarius. Okay, so this is, what are we doing? We got to change this up. We got to have a little bit more, ideas as it comes down to just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this for me. I have to do this for me. I got to get more structure with that, and not being afraid to say, okay, I still want to be free, because the Aquarius energy wants to be free. So we think about the summer, you still have the opportunity to move and do stuff, but with really applying more Saturn to the side of Aquarius energy than the Uranus side. Okay, now, just some of the areas in your chart that you want to look at, right? So, because this is the favorable and the unfavorable parts in dealing with the Saturn and Aquarius energy. So if you're looking at the Sagittarius parts of it, right? This is the energy where it's going to really bring in some decision-making parts, okay? So investment. So this is how you deal with as this Saturn energy shows up. Investments, new job chances, you know, resources, money, because this is still Jupiter, right? But this whole Jupiter energy is still in a favorable time, even though it's Saturn retrograde, because the Saturn energy works really closely with Jupiter. We know this. They like to work together. So if you've been doing what you supposed to have been doing, especially for within this last like 5 to 6 years, this is going to be a favorable time because Saturn is karma too. Okay. And because it is karma, it can be a karma payout, right? But if for the last 5, 6 years of portal energy, you've been ignoring responsibility, haven't been tightening up, you know what I'm saying, playing victim role, then you're going to have to come to the table. Okay. You're going to have to come in and sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation as it relates to Saturn and say, okay, now why are these things not done? Why didn't you do these things? Okay. Even go back to when we had the great conjunction is what I'm talking about. Go back to that point and then think from there into now, what you've been doing with it, what you've been doing with the Saturn energy. Okay. So Sagittarius, Aries, and Virgo areas of your chart as it relates to the Saturn retrograde are going to get a boost, right? It's going to be a boost in those energies. Aries in the movement, in the career situation, Virgo in the working well and being able to build a career. Like I said, Sag is this investment money portal energy, right? But then we look at our Cancer, our Pisces, and our Scorpio parts. These are some areas where we're going to have to really do some different things, okay? Cancer facing a few obstacles over the summer as it relates to this whole, feeling the retrograde energy, okay? Not only feeling it, being in the space of understanding what this whole energy is for as a relationship and maintaining happiness and taking care of self. Like we had the whole self-care conversation at the beginning of the year too, based on the Pisces part, right? So now this is the revisit. What you've been doing, especially no matter what Cancer shows up in your chart. So I've been noticing for me, because this Cancer energy is in the 12th, and I haven't been doing, like I've been talking about ways in which I want to structure not doing so much as it relates to my family, right? I always feel like I'm having to do so much, but I'm still doing it, okay? I'm still doing it because I'm still learning how to be able to fine tune, how to be able to put myself in certain spaces as it relates to that. So look at where these areas in your chart are showing up and structure them. Pisces parts, Scorpio parts, okay? Pull these parts out your chart and know that these are the areas where Saturn is having these hardcore conversations about structure and putting things in place and taking care of yourself, self-responsibility, self-care, okay? Cancer is the self-care part. Pisces is the part where you have to detach. Scorpio is the part where you have to let go. So what parts are you not letting go? What parts of you are you still attaching yourselves to other people's stories? What part are you trying to be the savior of other people at the detriment of yourself? Okay? The self-care part is the biggest, okay? The reason why I say that's the biggest because, again, this is karmic energy. So if you've been dealing with your health or ignoring health situations, you want to deal with that over the summer, okay? Because if you don't deal with it over the summer, the continuation of this energy, when Pluto brings this stuff around in this October, November thing, you're going to have to really deal with it in a major way. All right, so take some time to structure areas of your life. Okay, take time. You already know, just completely get your shit together. All of it. I don't care what's going on. It's gonna seem like you feeling, you know, like you want to rebel and don't want to do stuff, like, but you need to really fine tune. You need to fine tune because the energy, the finances, all that stuff you need to be able to see. When it comes down to money, right? If you find that your money is starting to slow up, do not panic. It's time to create. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. If you find yourself in a space where your money is slowing up, do not panic. It's time to create. Create what? Whatever you're great at. If that's music, or if you say, well, I ain't great at nothing, well, then if you don't know what to do, then write. Sit down and write. Write something out. Write a plan of action out. Write out how you really want things to be. But don't allow yourself to fall for the okie doke and feel like, you know, you must be doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. This is an opportunity. We're in a summer of opportunity. Okay, you do this right. Your latter part of this year is going to be, again, more money, more opportunity. The job you say you wanted, if you're going for that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? The career you say you wanted. Again, this is Saturn retrograde. What does Saturn deal with? Career, opportunity. But it also deals with you putting the work in. It's also the drill sergeant, okay? So tighten up. You might have to be a little bit rough on yourself this summer. Okay, you might need to be a little bit more aggressive than you have been. I ain't talking about beat up on yourself and say all negative words, but you may want to really, you know what I'm saying, like go ahead and have a heart-to-heart and say, listen, we got to stop blaming people for why we ain't where we need to be. I'm not saying that your trauma ain't real. I'm not saying they didn't do that to you. I'm saying when you going to stop letting that be the excuses and the reasons why you ain't where you need to be. That's all I'm saying. So use the opportunity of understanding that the energy that's showing up for the whole entire summer, the basis of it, look at how it's kicking off. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't even do no studying, if you just looked at what cycles kick off as things are coming in, that gives you the indication of what's happening. We just ended the Mercury retrograde, so we just ended the conversation, and now we're starting what? The review of structure. The review of structure from now until October. Hold on, let me grab some. So your job is to look at your cycles. Where is your, everybody to put in the chat, where is your Gemini placements? And where's your, or where's your Saturn? I'm sorry, not Gemini placements, erase that. Where is your Saturn? What sign is your Saturn in? And what house is it in? Where is your Saturn, people? My Saturn is in Virgo in the second. All right, let me look at this chat. All right. Haley. All right, Comfort, second house, Capricorn. All right. Saturn in Aquarius. What house is it in? Or what's your rising sign, Lee? Saturn in Libra in the 6th. All right. All right, Comfort, what does second house Capricorn mean for your Saturn?
Structuring my finances, and my resources, my material resources. So not just like the currency that I have, but the things that help me to build that money. So the structure around what brings the money to me.
Yes. What is it also dealing with from the spiritual perspective and dealing with the Father?
What I think maybe in that is
combine what you just said and add Daddy to it.
Well, this is what I intuited when you were talking about it earlier, because it was a conversation I was having with someone else. It's about being willing to set boundaries in relationships that withhold my values, even if that means I have to lose you in doing it. That's what I feel.
For sure. It's also too looking at one of the things that when you got Daddy in the second house is also looking at the finances that Dad did or did not contribute to the house as well. So meaning what's your indication? That's why I said combine what you said, right? Because what's your indication on how you see men and money in the second house? Are they really providers? Do you believe men to be providers? Or do you think it's coming from you? Do you think you have to work really hard to provide that for yourself?
Interesting.
Because Capricorn is the workaholic, right?
And that's my mother. My mother's a Capricorn sun, and she's always made more money than all the men she's ever dated. And she's never taken child support from any of them. And she still has the most resources out of all of them.
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean. So that's part of the program. All right. Okay. You said Aquarius is your rising. Okay. So it's in your first house. Okay. So Leslie, I'm going to come back to you, Lee, in a second. Leslie, Saturn,
Yes.
Saturn and Libra in the 6th. Tell me what that means.
For me right now, when I was looking at it, it feels like I need to be more structured and more balanced in my own personal rituals. Mm-hmm. And my attitude toward work, like, because I'm very much all or nothing. I'm very much either I'm working very, very hard or I'm not doing shit. Mm-hmm. So I need to create some sort of balance.
Yes, definitely balance. And not leaning on one side or the other too much. You know what I'm saying? Not because that's what it is. It's either you are on one side or the other too hard. You know, you either all work or you not working at all. But it's being able to have a structured schedule, right? You got to give that Libra a schedule of timing of being able to when to put in the work and then when to just relax into your beauty status, because you're supposed to have that too. That's what makes you rejuvenate, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the work part of it too, it makes you feel like you're not achieving things. You're not achieving the things that you know you need to achieve, because Saturn is also career status, right? So where our Saturn is also how we can get to the career goals. You can't get to the career goals without applying the Saturn, no matter where it applies in the application of your chart. So because yours is in the 6, it's saying if I apply the balance of being able to work and then being able to relax out and enjoy things, life and beauty, and doing, you know, relationship things, then yes, that's what's going to bring it in. Okay, so now, and if you've been doing something in the same way for you, Comfort, too, you've been doing something that has already, you feel like you've been putting structure in place, but it's like becoming monotonous, right? Aquarius don't like monotonous things. That's what it rebels against. So you have to bring in something new. It can't be, Aquarius wanted to be different and weird, okay? So add some type of weird and a different thing to your schedule, you know what I'm saying? And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it bring in a lot more structure. It makes the structure easy. For example, instead of doing regular yoga, you do hot yoga. You know what I'm saying? Or you do hip hop yoga. You know what I'm saying? Or yoga on the fence type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Just need something to be different. Okay. All right. You said also Saturn the 12th. Yeah, I thought it was going to be in your 12th or your first house. So having that Saturn in the first really has a lot to do with like dealing with your personality, dealing with how you appear, because that rising energy. And I don't know if you can talk and come off your mic or not. Can you talk to me, Lee?
I can.
Okay, good. So tell me what you think that means.
I'm not sure. I know my Saturn in Aquarius really has a lot to do with my structure.
Yep.
And my struggles with that, like having structure in my life.
Yes.
But I continuously struggle with that one.
And that's what this cycle is going to be, right? It's going to give you the opportunity to no longer struggle with that, right? And one of the ways in which, again, Aquarius is very, it can be rebellious, but Aquarius also really does like structure, okay? Now, me having an Aquarius child, I know the test of this, because if I don't, like, she loves freedom, but if I give her too much, it makes her crazy. Okay, she's not happy. And I tell people that have Aquarius children or Aquarius people in their lives like this, yes, Aquarius energy wants to be free, but it needs structure. So sometimes you have to enforce that in. So this whole summer for you, especially as it relates to, like I said, the energy that you are conjuring in, how you see yourself, right? Your physical appearance, your energy. All of that, you know, especially if it's in your 12th house too. 12th house has a lot to do with karma. So this is also about some of those stories that you've been telling yourself, especially as it relates to like friendships or, you know, things that have been going on in friendships or things that have been going on in family and friendships. All these stories that may have come up, especially within this last like 30 to 45 days, all this stuff is shifting. And it's shifting because it's time for you to put in some boundaries that has to do with you putting some different things in structure. I mean, like, you got people around you that are not allowing you to uphold the structures for yourself. You got to be able to say, okay, well, maybe I don't need to hang out with them as much. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't go around them as much. You know, so a lot of this energy as it relates to like getting yourself into placement, even though it's something that you have struggled with, this is one of those things that you have to say, okay, I'm no longer struggling with this. And then over this summer, of this whole summer opportunity, you'll get the opportunity to really shake and shift some things that's going to really be very huge for you. Because once you really like step into this, some of the things that you've been really wanting to happen is going to be so easy. It's going to be an easy shift.
Okay.
All right. Courtney gonna come on in and say something too. She got your Saturn Aquarius too. Courtney?
Yes. So
what's up with this Saturn Aquarius you got?
So for me, it's you pretty much touched on maintaining consciousness of the stories that I'm telling myself. Yeah. Let's see. For me, the struggle of structure is real. But because I know that it's real, I'm able to use that as a way to restructure so that I'm allowed to have structure.
Yeah.
I give myself.
And don't be afraid to create. Understand Aquarius loves creativity. Okay. No matter what form it's in. It can be written creativity. It can be verbal creativity. You know what I'm saying? It just loves to create in whatever ways it can, with your hands, with your whatever. And so these are ways and outlets that if you are Aquarius energy, especially in these spaces, you have to have outlets, because if not, then the Aquarius energy will rebel. It will say, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm not doing nothing, right? Versus have a thing where when you get to that point, when the Aquarius energy gets to be overwhelmed and you're like, oh, let me go and draw real quick. Let me go and get my pad and write down a poem real quick, or write something down real quick, these words. Let me write down how I'm feeling. Fuck this shit. I don't want to do this shit today. What? Fuck this shit. I don't want to do this shit today. Say fuck this shit. I don't want to do this shit today. Say whatever you have to do to create this energy of shift. Aquarius needs that. Okay? Same for you, Lee. I'm talking to you too.
Yes. Aligning the environment is what I wrote. In aligning the environment with it. Being in alignment with your environment. Okay.
Yeah. And in worst case scenario, which is not really the worst case, but the Aquarius is the humanitarian. Okay. It is the one that is helping the community. So when you don't know what to do, or you don't feel like you know what to do, go and volunteer at a community, outreach center somewhere that's close to you. You know what I'm saying? Do something for others. Doing something for others requires structure, right? Because if you're going to volunteer, they want you to come in at this amount of time, do these many, you know what I'm saying? But while you're there, you're really sharing yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's just if you need something to do, because that's one of the things that satisfies the Aquarius energy. Okay, Courtney, where is your Saturn in Aquarius? What house is in?
I don't have.
What's your
I
rising?
don't have it in the houses.
What's your rising?
My rising Capricorn.
Okay. So yours is the second too. Probably second and the third. All right. Well, good. So over the summer, again, the best thing for you to do is apply these energies. So what I wrote down for what we got over the June. So again, Mercury retrograde ended. Saturn retrograde starts this weekend. And then we have, let's see, what's shifting this month? You got full moon in Sag. We got Sun in Cancer on the 21st. Venus is going into Gemini. Neptune retrograde starts. That's the other one. So Neptune retrograde is going to start at the end of this month. Okay. So you got a good month to deal with just Saturn by itself, with a little bit lingering of, you know what I'm saying, the Mercury part of it. before that Neptune comes in. Neptune's is the dreams perspective, okay? Now, the reason why that's going to be a little bit, you know, can bring in a little bit extra to it is because this is now going to do with some of that dream state, some of that stuff that Pisces and Jupiter was dealing with at the beginning of the year. Now that's going to be revisited, your dream state, okay? But we'll talk about that in another class. But just know that that energy as a whole is going to be one of those things that's going to come in right before we go into our July perspectives for the whole 4th of July energy. But then right as that comes in, that whole retrograde, the Saturn retrograde is going to end. So meaning that the Neptune starts on the 28th and Saturn ends on the 1st, right? That part of it, the big part, the big bulk of it. All right. And so then we go all the way through the energy. And we have a Chiron retrograde starts on the 19th of July. So that's another major energy that's going to deal with our wounded energy. So I'm calling these things out because this is going to be major as it relates to the Saturn perspectives, right? If you put the Saturn perspectives in place, these other retrogrades are going to be easy. They're going to be a piece of cake because the Saturn is what's going to automatically put you into alignment. When those things get into alignment, the other retrogrades, the other areas that comes in is almost like just finishing up the details. Right? But when you are not focused on that, if your structure is all over the place this summer, then your fall, the remaining of the year financially is you're gonna get hurt a little bit. Okay. You're not gonna have what you need in place to make your money good. All right. So overall, there's some good places though for love though. Some good love stuff, some good love and sex stuff could come in, but if it ain't what it's supposed to be, don't even go into it. Don't even go into it, okay? Be structured even with that because you're going to have tests. You're going to have tests of, are you ready or are you not, okay? If you're ready, you allow yourself to take time, okay? Take your time. See what these things are really about and revealing to you. Come on, Coffee.
Thank you, because my wig started to slip. I wanted to add, even though you said we're going to talk about it later, the Neptune retrograde, and you had said we're going to revisit some of the things that we experienced in Jupiter and Pisces. Yes. And what you mean is, what I noticed in Jupiter at Pisces is like whatever dreams I had, they were being expanded, meaning I could see them in more color, but I could also see where I'm dreaming with limitations. Yes. So you're saying we're going to be visiting those two polarities, not just the dreams, not just dreaming about what you want, but dreaming about what you're used to and have really learned the lesson about that.
Your drug state.
Okay.
Your drug state, meaning that what you have been using to cope, right? And at the same time, what I mean coping is you say you dream of a big house on a hill, right? But you've been coping with self-medicating in some kind of way, whether that be with food, whether that be with toxic energy, whether that be with the environment that you're in and keep putting yourself in. Something about your Neptune energy has yet to be given up. You haven't shifted it. Mm-hmm. So even though you've been dreaming in this dreaming in this Pisces perspective of Jupiter, saying, oh, this is expanding, I want it this way. What have you not really faced because you've been, again, numbing yourself? Where are you numb? Where are you not alive? Mm-hmm. Where are you drinking the Kool-Aid? You know what I'm saying? Because the drug state, or what Neptune really is about, if we just really step into the mycelium network for a second, right? And we really say that, okay, Neptune is really the mycelium connection. That's what it's really designed for. But because through America, we've learned liquor, we've learned to abuse, marijuana, we've learned to abuse, pills and popping pills and X and all. We've learned to abuse these things because what we're really trying to do is tap into the mycelium network. We're trying to get online. You're trying to get online. Why? Because in order for you to really live in the expansion of that shit we talked about as Jupiter, you gotta detach. What does Pisces deal with? saving yourself, even though we use it to save everybody else. It's really about saving yourself. Saving yourself how? By really tapping into yourself and disconnecting. Where are you attached? Because wherever you're attached, that's where you're drugging. You're drugging on the things you're attached to, period. So when we get to the end of this month, your vices are going to come full circle. You're going to see some things about the things that you've been using to really just cope. And that's part of the suffering that you're experiencing as it relates to not getting to the dreams. Why Jupiter and Pisces can't really render you everything is because you're standing in your own way. And so that is going to show you itself, especially after this Saturn retrograde. Come on in and show you everything. Because the Saturn retrograde part is going to really prove to you whether or not you are really mature or not. If you are resisting your maturity, you decide to be an immature child. And I'm going to just call it what it is. You decide to be an immature child. When that Neptune energy comes in, you're going to want to drug more. You're going to want to escape more. You're going to find more alcohol, more drugs, more sex. Whatever you've been using, you'll find more of it. The reason being is because you're not going to be able to cope with your own disappointment. So you can stand you and your faces every time I say so. It always be you and the faces. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. That's why I said we're already feeling it now. You're already feeling the residual of Saturn now saying, do it now. Because you're not going to be able to deal with your disappointment. You're not this time. You're going to want to escape real hard in a real way. So if you go ahead and do that, put some structure in, then when the whole Neptune energy comes in, guess what's going to go with it? Your vices are going to go. You're going to let them go. You're going to give it up. I don't need these things anymore. Because now I realize all I really needed was to take full responsibility of me and structure this thing out. Structure out my time. Why did I say time? What does Saturn rule, y'all? Father time. So I took my time, I organized it, I got what I want. So now when Neptune retrograde comes and asks me to review the details, I can say, boom, I'm disconnected from that now. I don't have that problem anymore. That's not my vice. I'm not scared of that. I went on ahead and did it. I did that. That's your summer. Your summer can be as good as it can be. You can be, you know what I'm saying, completely in a state of bliss. But the only way you're going to be there is responsibility. Responsibility is your summer, okay? Maturity is your summer. Write that on your forehead, on your mirrors, on your walls. Maturity is your summer, okay? Responsibility is your summer. If your bank account ain't what it need to be, again, maturity is your summer. Now, as to some of y'all, when it comes down to when we was talking about these aspects, the Cancer, the Scorpio, and Pisces, right? Those areas. When you look at the summer perspectives of it, right? Those are also some of the areas within us that like to spend. Okay, I'll add Taurus to that too. But those are the water signs in us is where we usually use the most money. Understand that because the world is also going through a Saturn retrograde as well, that prices for everything is going to be extremely high over the summer. Okay, flights are going to be high. So this is the summer of road trips, okay? Now, even though I know gas is also high, it's going to be cheaper for you to do road. You will have a better experience. You will ground better. You're going to have more structure with that because to drive means to be on time, okay? So now understand that there's some mechanics at play here. So flights, yeah, and you can do flights, but understand that you're going to have to be structured with that timing and get the details. So what I mean is you got to set trackers. You got to purchase, have money already set to the side so that when those trackers hit and they say, hey, this price is $300, you got to be able to buy it then. All right? So you need to plan out. You need to be looking for deals. all the way across the board over everything that you buy this summer. If you never got into extreme couponing, now is the time. Okay, I was a hardcore extreme couponer for 2 years, baby. I had everything. You hear me? I was never, I mean, when I say everything, laundry detergent, soap, I didn't, everything. I was stockpiled, all right? This is the summer to get into it. And what I mean is, don't buy shit that ain't on sale, because it's going to be a lot of sales. Don't fall for the trap that everything is high. No, it's not. It's a dip. It's doing this. Everything is doing this. They're going to show you out while it's up here. That's all they're going to show you is inflation. But if you are watching and you're structured, you'll catch it when it hit that dip, and that's when you will buy. So go to the grocery stores and buy things that are on sale. So what I mean is, stop, if you're gonna cook, stop going to the grocery store saying you don't know what you're gonna eat. Plan it out. Only go in the grocery store to get what you want. Okay? Same for whatever it is that you buy over the summer. This is going to even out when the fall hit in. By the time we get to October, some of this financial stuff is going to even out, but we're finna deal with this financial issue for a minute. Among some other things that's gonna come in. It's gonna be another little scare of some health stuff come in. All right? Don't y'all trip on none of that stuff. You stay in alignment to your purpose and what you got going on. Don't be fighting for no okie doke. Everybody got an agenda. What's yours? What's your agenda? Stay on your agenda, okay? Because if you are in alignment to you, you should have a successful and a come up. This is a come up opportunity. This is not for you to go down. Know that in order for you to jump, you got to squat, okay? So consider this energy as a compact for you to bounce up, because that's really what's going on. Yes, a lot of energy. For me, again, I got Virgo and Saturn in the second. So for me, it's reworking it, right? It's really getting into what has been working for me and what's not. What areas can I fine tune? What areas can I work better? What can I do? And I'm looking at all of that. I'm looking at my community. I'm looking at this. Like, am I doing too much and not enough? What ways am I doing too much? What ways do I need to do more? How can I fine tune this? How can I really better use coaches to come in? All these areas of work for me, I'm redesigning. I'm reworking it. Why? Because this is your major thing, okay, for your entire summer. You need to be working smarter, not harder. Smarter, not harder. So if you've been putting in extra hours, but it ain't equating time for money, that's what I mean about you're not working smarter, you're working harder. And that's not the theme. That's not the theme here, okay? So use that energy, see where these things are in your chart, and allow them to really be full circle over your summer. Does anybody have any questions or any comments or anything they want to ask or add? Nothing? Comfort?
Even though it's a Saturn retrograde, I've been feeling like I'm gonna take some leaps in my finances, meaning like I'm about to start those businesses that people always tell you they're super easy to start, like an Airbnb, right? And then looking into the finances to do it.
Yes.
And part of some of the things that I've been getting is that, like, I have to just, what I had told you on the call, declare that I'm mature and then be mature about going about the things that I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we can do all of it. That's what I'm saying. You have to look at retrograde as opportunity for review so that you can come up all the time. Retrogrades are quiet periods of review so you can expand, get more, right? So yes, these businesses and things that you want to do, you should be looking at, studying ways in which you can get more Saturn in, ways of income, right? Why income? Because what does Saturn rule? Finances. So you should be looking at more finances. You shouldn't be looking at, because I told you things, some of the finances is going to be slow to come in. That don't mean that you ain't going to get no money. I didn't say that. I'm letting you know that these are windows of opportunity. That is, anytime something is slowing up, it's slowing up so that it can what? Go back the other way. So when it speed up and go back the other way, you're supposed to be ready. You're supposed to be ready on that end. Okay? So yes, looking into businesses that can be very good that you don't have to put a lot of energy into. That's what I'm looking at. So I've been thinking about stuff like buying or investing into stuff like ATMs or investing into vending machines, right? You know, and vending machine, healthy vending machines, or looking at things that, you know, just stuff like that you could just put like investments, right? Things that you can take a few $100s and put into something that may render you a few $100s, right? And then thinking about ways in which you're already investing and have they been working. Now, we talked about having a crypto group, right, in this room, right? So crypto is something that I have been investing in for like the last 5 or 6 years. But let me be honest with you. When it comes down to what I have been hearing just in the ethers about it, the way you make crypto, more money with crypto, is you have to stay in the trading. What I mean is you can't just buy crypto and sit it there, because then it's going to fluctuate and go up and down when it go up and down. You have to then watch that. So when it does go up, you take that money and buy more stuff. Like, you have to really use it, right? So you got to be thinking about spaces where you already have investments going on. And if you are not really knowledgeable about the investment, is it really making sense? Is it making you money, or is it just shit you got sitting over in the pot or a hole like a goddamn savings account, but it's not doing anything? Think about proper ways of investing. So yes, investing into Airbnbs. Like for me, part of me traveling is also thinking about ways in which I can, you know, secure leases and secure apartments and places where I want to live over the next course of years. But I also want these to be spaces where people who want to travel can travel in a network with me. So I'm going to build a network for mine. So let people know these are spaces that I've gone to. It's going to have a whole clear details of what to do, so they'll have no guesswork in it. You know what I'm saying? And instead of them having to book through Airbnb, fuck that. They can book through me. I'm the Airbnb, because these are going to be people that I know that's going to be renting my shit. Now people I don't. You know what I'm saying? So things like this, whatever ways that you can generate energy. Let's take the word money off of it. Ways in which you can generate more energy for yourself, you need to be considering it. Okay? Working out, and I ain't saying lifting weights. I'm saying working out, calisthenics, walking, jump rope, generates more energy. Okay? Taking iron supplements, taking B12, and when I mean iron supplements, I mean raw iron supplements, taking B12 supplements, taking vitamins, okay, renders you more energy. You desire and need more energy in order to generate more income. They work hand in hand. Same with sex energy. Sex energy, money energy, income. The same, those are the same words. Same things. So Saturn is the name of the game for the summer. You want to know what you need to be doing? Take and apply the same way I told y'all when we was talking back in April, and I said, take yourself and apply yourself to your North Node. Take yourself now and apply yourself to your Saturn, and combine it with some of the conversations from your Mercury Retrograde, and run that shit for the next 3 months and watch what happens. Watch what happens for you. Okay? Any questions? Going once, going twice, 3 times a lady, and I love you. I love y'all. Lily, you got no questions? Oh, what just means? Comfort, you got a question? You can say something? Or you waving by?
Waving. I was waving.
Okay.
I'm gonna start reading charts though. I'm starting to read next week. I'm gonna start reading charts for people.
Are you?
So, yeah, I read 2 this week. They were phenomenal. So I'm about to be on it, baby.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. So proud. Lee, you got any questions?
No, I don't have no questions.
Good. Courtney?
No, ma'am.
Lily Pooh?
Nope, I know what to do.
Great. For those of you that are watching the playbacks, if you do have questions, please put them under this post, okay? So that we can collectively join in your question and I can answer it for everybody. We will have another class At the end of this month, it's going to go over, like I said, this Neptune retrograde that's coming up, along with just how to navigate the Cancer energy, which is going to be really intense, especially with that that Chiron retrograde combining with it. We're going to be crying this Cancer. It's going to be a crying Cancer season. Just go ahead and get the tears ready. Get your Kleenex, boo. Time to go ahead and clear out. Okay, clear out that mama stuff, that mama and daddy stuff. Your mama stuff going to come out a little bit more too in this Cancer season. Okay? You're going to find out some stuff about your mama too. All right. Well, I love y'all. If y'all got any questions, again, after y'all listen back, please put them under the comments of this post. I love y'all so much. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be a good weekend too. Okay? And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.